Hello and welcome to Portland Cocktail Week presents My Way USA, sponsored by our dear friends at Hennessy. This is our final round of this competition. The submission form opened in early June, and we had all of these beautiful videos and recipes submitted. And today's the day where we have narrowed down our top 6 folks who have submitted they answered the call of the Hennessy My Way Challenge. And they are here today to determine who is crowned the 2021 Portland Cocktail Week My Way USA champion. And that title comes along with some pretty sweet prizes, a good portion of them taking place in France, which is fantastic. But we will talk a little more about the prizes later in the broadcast. We have a lot to get to first. So you're going to see all of our competitors present their cocktails today, talk about their ritual and why the cocktails that they submitted are Hennessy their way. And you're going to get to meet our judges. So we're going to do that first. I will go ahead and tell you, before we meet our judges, you're going to meet all of the judges except for one judge, which is our fearless leader, the fabulous Miss Lindsay Johnson. You will not meet her yet, even though I hope you already know her. If not, you're really missing out, because she is our blind judge. So she is sequestered. She cannot watch the stream. She cannot be on this stream until all of our competitors have done their presentations, because she's tasting all of these cocktails blind. So we got a lot of different levels built in here, because that's how we like to do things. But our 3 judges who will be judging an overall presentation, including the cocktail taste technique, all of those good points, will be Josh Davis, founder of Brown and Balanced. Who doesn't love Josh? Come on now. Josh is a longtime Hennessy fan, has worked with the brand a whole lot, and honestly knows more about cognac than a whole lot of people. So why don't we not have Josh on this stream? And then we have the lovely Miss Tara Fogner from Thirsty Media. Tara, big part of the family, good friend, cognac enthusiast, and she's going to be giving out one of those prizes at the end. So keep an eye on that. And then obviously global brand ambassador for Hennessy, Jordan Bushell. Jordan, tell us what's going on today. How you doing?
I'm doing wonderful. Thank you for having me. I'm super excited about this competition. Letting people express kind of the way that they enjoy Hennessy, or whether it's got a cultural link to them, or whether they've created their own rituals. That's, when you get to Hennessy and you get to see the house, there's a lot of rituals built into that. It's been around for over 250 years. So we thought, what better way for people to do it than this? And I mean, Lush Life and Portland Cocktail Week, they put some stuff together.
Well, Jordan, we've had the pleasure of working with you and Hennessy, particularly on Portland Cocktail Week for so many years. So it just makes sense that we're all here together, showcasing all of the talent of these wonderful humans and talking about a prize that gets us out in the world to see other humans in the same place, which is so exciting. But in order to get there, we're going to have to say these drinks and hear about these rituals. And as one for simplicity and fairness, all of our competitors will be going in alphabetical order by the first initial of their first name, which means our dear, dear, sweet Bryce Tomberlin is up first. Bryce, our dear Bryce from Fort Worth, Texas, give us what you got, bud. Tell us about Hennessy your way.
All right, am I live?
You're ready to go, babe.
Bonjour à mes collègues estimés, les juges, la compagnie de Hennessy, la Geneviève Portland Cocktail Week, vous tous qui regardez à la maison. Je m'appelle Bryce Tomberlin, ici Hennessy My Way. Hello to my esteemed colleagues, our judges, our sponsors Hennessy, people at Portland Cocktail Week, and all of you joining us at home. My name is Bryce Tomberlin, and this is Hennessy My Way. I'd like to start by presenting my drink, the Eau de Maison, a refreshing Hennessy-inspired cocktail that is a take on the Texas Anytime classic, the Ranch Water. We first start with 1 3/4 ounces of Hennessy VS. We then move on to a 1/2 ounce of orange liqueur, a ½ ounce of honey syrup, and 3/4 ounces of lemon juice. We then give that a quick shake. And then we strain that over fresh ice in a burgundy glass. Now I know what you're saying, especially Jordan, should be a Bordeaux glass, given that it's from cognac. But I felt that the burgundy glass better accented the aromatics of the drink. We then top that with a little bit of soda water. And garnish a sprinkle of cayenne pepper and sea salt mixture and an orange slice. And there you have it, the eau de maison, otherwise known as the house water. My inspiration for this drink had a number of different sources, and they're all based in my rituals as per the recommendations from Hennessy. But rituals have always been kind of an interesting thing for me. My neurodivergence leaves me wanting structure, but not liking the things that give me structure. So my rituals tend to change quite a lot. However, no matter what the ritual is exactly, it seems to have a number of different similarities. First one is it always involves my family, my friends, and especially my wife. The second one is it involves music. And my wife and I both being Francophiles, two of our favorite bands, mine in particular, are from France. My favorite being Gojira, a metal band from Bayonne, France. And then the third one is good food and just kind of sharing our time together. And really, when I was creating this cocktail and thinking about the rituals of how we drink Hennessy and how we enjoy our time together, I thought about how do I share this? How do I teach people? Make a fairly simple cocktail, something that people can recreate at home, that you can recreate at whether it's a dive bar or a high-end cocktail bar. But really the main selling point for me was creating something that I could enjoy in the heat of Texas, on our patio, rooftop, or just simply walking around outside with my wife, listening to some music, or even just enjoying the air conditioning and sitting on the couch watching some television or movies, as we are both cinephiles as well. So I would like to very much thank Hennessy, Portland Cocktail Week, and everyone else involved for the opportunity to get creative with my drink, with this presentation, and of course my video, which you'll see later. Thank you very much.
Well, that was fantastic, Bryce. Let's bring up our presentation judges to see questions, comments, anything you want to go back over or clarify. Make sure we get those scores right on try one.
I think it was it's very interesting that you call it house water and you link to that. Was there thought into kind of like the traditional way of drinking Hennessy historically? Because the French call it finalo, and it's just water and Hennessy on ice.
Right. There was a little bit, but honestly, I kind of thought more about tying the Texas history, Texas roots. As some of you may know, France at one point were owners of Texas. It's one of the Six Flags Over Texas, which is where the theme park gets its name. And I really just kind of thought about taking a kind of modern classic that people know here, creating it with Hennessy and giving them kind of an alternative to, just ordering a ranch water when they go to a bar.
No, I love the story, man. I love the, I didn't even have any questions. It's a comment. I love the fact that you made it something approachable. You brought your wife and your family into it. I'm big on family and having family gatherings and cocktails that are approachable for everyone. So kudos, man. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, very much likewise on that tone, making something that you can have at home, something that's easily recreatable. I always appreciate elevating it with certain ingredients, but something that you can make at home that you can enjoy, and especially the seasonality of it. It is hot right now in New York, and I'm sure where everyone is. So this is a nice little treat. Well done, Bryce.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, that's so high-end hit to an otherwise like really refreshing drink is very interesting.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Well, Bryce, thank you so much for sharing your presentation with us today, your cocktail with the masses today, for sending in your submission form last month. And I cannot wait for folks to see your video at the end. All the videos are super fun, and everybody took a really different approach to the videos, but they're all so fun, and I'm so excited for everybody to get to see all of them. So, Bryce, thank you so much. We appreciate you. We love you. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, friends. So now you've seen Bryce's fancy take on the ranch water, which leads us right into our next competitor. Also a resident of the great state of Texas. We have Miss Chandler Tomako coming up. Present her drink, Slow Your Roll. Chandler, how you doing today?
I'm doing really well. I was unaware that Bryce is from Fort Worth. That's my hometown. So hey there, maybe I'll come visit. I live in the Dallas area now, so we're not too far from each other actually. It's kind of cool.
Well, there must be something in the ranch water out there, because we've got two of you right from the same place. So y'all are doing a fantastic job in all of your cocktail endeavors in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. So, Chandler, whenever you are ready,
Yeah.
have at it, girl.
Cool. Well, my cocktail is called Slow Your Roll. And before I actually make the cocktail for you guys, I'll give you a little bit of background with me and Hennessy, and then teach you the cocktail, and tell you the cocktail, and then tell you the story behind it. But I was introduced to Hennessy when I was about, 18 or 19. I was living overseas where it's legal to drink at 18. And to be fairly honest, the experience was kind of rough for me, because it was in a nightclub. I was part of a professional hip hop dance group, and everybody was just doing shots of Hennessy all the time. And I just thought, like, I don't think this is for me, but all the cool kids were drinking it. And I was like, okay. So I would have one now and again. And then when the Hennessy My Way competition became a thing, I really wanted to take the opportunity to find a way to embrace Hennessy in a way that made it more mine, which obviously the title of the competition is exactly that. So I realized that the fast, hard, loud experience of Hennessy isn't my vibe, which is where I come up with the name Slow Your Roll. So the cocktail that I designed is really designed to slow you down. And it's part of my get ready ritual. Throughout the pandemic, I decided to start teaching bartending lessons when I could no longer bartend in public. You are actually currently in my classroom/studio. And I used to have to rush to get ready to go to work. I live very far. We drive a long time in Texas. So very little time for makeup and hair and wardrobe. And then I said, well, I don't have to be anywhere but down my hallway in my bedroom or my studio. So why don't I just slow things down a bit, really take time to invest in myself, learn how to have fun putting on makeup and feeling very much in tune with my feminine self. And then I love snacks and drinks, so why not set the tune with a snack and my drink? So the cocktail is comprised of 1.5 ounces of Hennessy VSOP, and it's a shaken cocktail. So we're gonna put that into a cocktail shaker. And the concept behind it was kind of to have a cross between a sour and a highball. I really enjoy highball cocktails because they're lengthy, they have bubbles, they're very refreshing. But I love sours, and they're more of a like sipper without the ice. So I kind of wanted to combine the two. So I'm going to use a 1/2 ounce of lemon juice. A lot of cocktails back in the day that used brandy or cognac later got translated into like gin cocktails. And so I kind of took a page from my own book where I used to do this gin cocktail with jam. So I kind of built this recipe on that. I add in 1/2 ounce of grapefruit juice. Being from Texas, it is ruby red. I am partial to my state's own products. I really do like to keep it local when possible. And then I have an orange marmalade. Marmalade being the kind of jam or jelly, whatever it is you call it, wherever y'all are from, the one that has the peel in it. So it has a nice bit of bitterness. And I'm extra because Texas likes it big. So it's a big heaping spoon of that jam. And then I'm gonna add ice to the shaker and we're gonna shake it up. So I like to shake it for about maybe 10, 15 seconds. So once I've shaken it, I've noticed one of, I guess, my other rituals that was brought to my attention is that I don't usually top off my cocktails if I have some kind of bubbly mixer. I add it into the shaker tin and then strain my cocktail so that it ends up really mixed instead of just having like soda on top. So I'm adding in 1.5 ounces of sparkling mineral water. And while I do love Texas and we do have the very ubiquitous Topo Chico, the bubbles for me are a little too aggressive for this cocktail because I like it to be a little more fancy feeling on the tongue. So I try to go with the sparkling water that has a finer bubble. And then I double strain my cocktail. One of my other habits that I acquired during the pandemic was I made it a ritual to go to antique stores because there's not a whole lot of people there. So social distancing is really easy. And then I get to pick up a ton of vintage glassware, which I may or may not be addicted to. I'm not going to admit to anything on camera. But my garnish, so to speak, comes from my travel experiences being in Europe with a lot of aperitivo and tapas. Just kind of won me over with the snack and drink combo. So I like garnishes that are functional but also really tasty. So I've created a Hennessy candied almond that has a little bit of salt, a little bit of Hennessy, some egg white, some sugar. Bake them until they're nice and crunchy. But I'm going to go a step further and get a really nice orange swath. And I'm a sucker for a flamed orange peel, but instead of flaming my drink, I'm going to flame the almonds, and then those act as a snack. So the way I drink Hennessy My Way is with my slow your roll cocktail, and you go back and forth with the snack and the drink, so the experience just constantly evolves. But that's my story, guys. Thanks.
Well, I'm not only thirsty now, but also hungry. I'll tell you that much. Those almonds look fantastic.
They're so good.
So
They
tell
are
me a
fantastic.
little more about, like, is there like a favorite place you like to go and find this vintage glassware? Just in case I find myself in the area. I don't want to blow up your spot, but
I will drive for a good antique store. I just moved to this area, so I've recently found 3. One is actually in Sunnyvale. It's called the East Fork Mall. Absolutely love it. They've got over 8 vendors. I recently bought a really nice vintage robe so I can walk up and down my new stairwell with my very bougie glassware and my Hennessy cocktails. It's just fantastic.
now that sounds like my kind of ritual. I'll tell you that much. Fancy glassware, Hennessy cocktail, fancy robe. Yeah, count me in.
Right? I'm trying to live my best life. That's what I'm doing.
Well, beautiful judges, do y'all have any questions or any points you want to go over with Chandler's presentation?
I now have a new ritual. I'll be candying and eating almonds while I drink Hennessy now.
They're addictive. Those almonds are, they're a banger, as the kids say.
But I love to slow your roll because, I mean, last year didn't teach us anything. It's to slow down and really enjoy it. And I love to slow down and enjoy Hennessy. So I love the correlation right there. It's really good.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think you really nailed the ritual on a couple sides, and it's not only like in your kind of ritual of getting ready and putting on your makeup and having that drink and that kind of those candied almonds beside it, but also in the kind of food pairing with the cocktail. Like it's a perfect service ritual. So many great bars around the world offer them, in multiple countries beyond just kind of tapas and things like that. There's just like, here's a little thing to keep you there, keep you drinking and enjoying. And orange marmalade is a favorite of mine. I've got Scottish grandparents, and like marmalade's great. In fact, I made your cocktail with the marmalade I made earlier in COVID.
I love that.
We had nothing to do, so I was making new things. But yeah, orange to cognac is I know it goes well with gin, as you referenced, but I've taken basically the breakfast martini and stolen that from years ago. So love everything, and really smart, giving all the judges food to eat while we taste everyone else's cocktails.
It wasn't intentional. I'm also a chef, so I have a very hard time not just feeding and making people drink things. It's my thing.
Well done.
Sorry to all the other competitors.
Well, I think there are some more foods coming up with some of our other drinks, but that's perfect because that just means we get to mix and match snacks. We get to have snacks all day. Who doesn't want that? Well, Chandler, thank you so much. I'm really looking forward to folks seeing your video a little later in the broadcast, but thank you for your presentation. Thank you for the recipe for the almonds. Anyone who's watching, we'll share almond recipe time on one of our social channels. Just look for it. It'll be up there at some point.
I would say that you do need to, like, it said like 100 grams of almonds. And I was like, no, I'm going to do like 300 up front because this is not going to work out well. I just have 100 grams there. So like triple the recipe and you're...
I'm into that. One thing, Chandler, I did love how you brought in your personal ritual about going antiquing and thrifting. One of the comments that I often hear about cocktail competitions, now I know that we're living in a virtual world, but is how expensive it gets to be when you are sourcing various things, like for photography, for example, which is something that I lean into a lot with a presentation. I really think that is something that I always recommend to people. So I appreciate that you brought that in and that into your ritual and story, and a little nice piece of advice for people. Go thrifting.
$2, guys. $2. It was beautiful.
If there's one thing I love almost as much as a snack, it's a deal. So thank you so much, Chandler, for sharing.
Thanks for having me, guys.
And Chandler, we'll have you back in just a little bit. We'll watch your video. Dave, if you want to go ahead and put our judges back in the green room so they can start building our next cocktail. I am so excited to have our next competitor come on. Christina Mercado. So I'm not going to give away too much because we are going to see your video later, but I am very moved that this cocktail is inspired and very deeply rooted in friendship because for me, like Christina and friendship, that just goes hand in hand. So Christina, how are you doing today? Are you excited?
Hi, Brittany. Yes, very excited. I'm super excited, one, to be making another batch of my cocktail to have afterwards. So it's going to be a lot of fun, but definitely to share my story with everyone.
Well, we are so happy to have you. So whenever you are ready, you just take it away.
Awesome. Well, hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me here in my kitchen. I'm located in Newport, Rhode Island, and I'm so excited to bring this cocktail to you because it really is a celebration of my history with Hennessy, as well as a celebration of friendship, as Brittany mentioned. I first tried Hennessy going on, I hate to say it, even about 15 years ago, around the time when I met my core group of friends. And a chilled bottle of Hennessy VS was brought out and poured and shared amongst us before we headed out for the evening. And throughout the year and throughout the years to come, this just became a ritual to us. We knew that signified the beginning of a great night. It signified this moment in time for us. And anytime I see a bottle of Hennessy VS, that's immediately what it triggers. So when this challenge was brought to us for the Hennessy My Way ritual, I knew I wanted to somehow capture that moment, capture those feelings that represents for me when I see that bottle of Hennessy VS. But then I started to think about how much has changed in that time period, and primarily really life. When you think about the marriages, the children, the spouses, the jobs, all the different things that have now started to strain our time, in addition to the fact that I can't walk down the street and find my friends anymore. We're all in different states. We need the help of planes, trains, automobiles, all sorts of transportation and planning to get to each other. But then I started to think that we never mind any of this planning that is required to spend time with each other, because that's one ritual that we refuse to give up on, the ritual of calling and checking in and spending time with our friends. And so I wanted to create this cocktail that's entitled really A Moment in Time, because those moments with our friends are such cherished moments, and express those through the ingredients, the emotions that come with that. And so I started with citrus. This is a blend of orange and lemon to represent the brightness, the accomplishments, just the happiness that we have over the years with each other and share with each other, as well as caramel to represent the sweetness and the love and the nurturing that happens when you find those perfect friends. as well as some spice, because spice is the variety of life and you never know what's going to come your way. And this is a blend of cinnamon, allspice, ginger, and then espresso, because whether we want to or not, to recognize that these bitter moments are going to come our way. However, when you have those friends, they help us get through it and push forward and give us the energy to continue. And so these ingredients all sit together for about an hour just as the spices infuse. And this is going to create the clarified milk punch base. And after about an hour, I'm going to add half and half. And the reason I'll be adding the half and half is because it's going to allow the clarification to happen, and all that cloudiness that you see in this mixture is going to fall away, and you'll be left with this beautiful amber liquid that is super flavorful and aromatic. And at the end, through TV magic, as you'll see, you're left with this golden amber liquid that has those aromas that are going to pair with the heart of the cocktail. And at the heart of the cocktail, I chose Hennessy VSOP. And I chose VSOP over VS because, like the expression, we have all aged. We've learned a little more. We've brought out a lot more flavors into our lives. 15 years, similar to the ages that you'll find in these blend of eau de vies in the bottle. And all you have to do to make this cocktail is pour 2 ounces of the VSOP into a stirring glass, along with 2 ounces of this espresso citrus spice blend that's been clarified. And immediately, as I'm pouring them into the mixing glass, all I smell are the stone fruit and the vanilla and the spices from the Hennessy. And as I add that citrus and espresso, it just creates this beautiful cloud in our faces and gets me excited for what's to come. We're going to stir it briefly with ice just to chill. And you can feel the sides cooling. And this is perfect. That little bit of dilution is also going to open up the cognac as well for that beautiful balanced taste at the end. And we're going to pour it into these prepared glasses. This cocktail is batched out to make 4 because, as I mentioned, it's meant to be shared with friends. This is a moment in time to be shared with others. And so here I have the single serving into an espresso blended salt rim. That touch of seasoning, that brightness is going to definitely open everything up. But this cocktail, as you see, it looks like that Cheers of the neat shot that I used to have way back when. But now when it comes to my nose, I know I'm already getting a cocktail. I'm getting something more complex. And it shows that despite how complex and crazy life can get, if you plan appropriately, if you mise en place your life essentially, and you still make time for those simple moments, you can enjoy them with each other. And that's so important. So here I have my cocktail, A Moment in Time. Kayla, Brittany, and Shannon, mis amigos, mis amis. This goes out to you. Cheers.
Oh, I mean, I have a weak spot for a milk punch. This is why I can't judge cocktail. If somebody makes milk punch, I'm like, okay, this one wins my book because I love a milk punch. Well, Christina, that was really beautiful. I love your story. I want to meet all of your friends, every one of them. So we're going to have to get on that soon. I've actually never been to Rhode Island, so it's time that I check that one off my bucket list anyway. And I'm just going to have to come up there, get the group together. We'll drink some moment in times, have a good time together. I love that.
Everybody's welcome. Please come visit me. People.
You heard that. There's probably a lot of people watching that, so let's go in stages so that we don't absolutely crush Christina's home. Well, let's bring up our judges and get their questions, thoughts here. Who wants to lead off, judges? What do you got for Christina?
I just want to give a little a note about the salt on that. I really, really enjoy that element. I always like when there's like something that is a bit unexpected that it helps balance that out. And I loved your story. I think, just bringing in friends and something that is large format. Did you think, I guess the question really is, thinking about friendship, I understand the large format. Do you think that might have been just a little bit of a challenge in terms of replicating, or do you really like to be able to do this at home or with a group of friends? I always think about being able to take it out of one environment and making it somewhere else. I think it's absolutely delicious, but is that something that you thought about, being able to make it at home or adapt it somehow?
Definitely. It actually, the reason I chose a milk punch was after talking with my friend Kayla in particular. I would tell her how I have a hard time now trying to work all my little side jobs and work. to plan just eating. And she told me, you know, she's like, Christina, you get up, you make a one-pot meal, you leave it in the corner. When you come back, you kind of just serve it. And so I thought about that in terms of a milk punch. I was like, all these ingredients, as you see, you just put it in the jar. You know, you continue your day, you throw the milk in there, you leave it in your fridge, even filtering while you go to work. You come back, it's set to go. And once you add the Hennessy, the goal is you can just leave it in the bottle in your fridge. And now anytime you have guests over, it'll sit and you can pour it. So it's like, it requires just that, you know, that one meal moment of prep, or, you know, a couple of mise en place to begin with, but it's now set to go. You could bring it to your friend's house and have it batched out for a while.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, I loved your sharing with friends. I think a lot of us did that, and we over this time, and we struggled to, you know, at the beginning, like, keep it interesting. And then, funny enough, I made milk punches for friends that we had in the park with my new puppy. I also love, speaking of the drink, you know, Brittany said it, a milk punch is amazing, though, you know, the presentation of a milk punch isn't like technically advanced. The making of it, it's all the technique is in the background. And I think using espresso can be especially tough, as it's a really powerful ingredient. Like, it tends to overpower everything. But then when you have it in a milk punch, you tone it down quite a bit. And did you purposely add the VSOP afterwards for that reason, or what was the reasoning behind keeping them? Because most times people are throwing everything in, clarifying, and then having it all done. But you've purposely added the VSOP afterwards.
Correct. Yes, I've definitely done it both ways. And it was pretty much because of the coffee. I did a couple of batches, and when I used the VSOP first, it was almost like the coffee and the spices, more than even the coffee, were infusing the VSOP, and it overpowered it. So then by straining it and having it clarified first, a lot of that would continue the infusion and the maceration of the flavor was gone. And so now we're just blended together instead of infusing the spirit itself.
Well, Tara and Jordan asked questions I was going to ask, so no need for me to ask questions. But espresso, cognac, great job. I enjoy it.
Thank you so much.
Josh is like, yeah, I'm busy.
I'm happy. Yeah, I'm really happy right now. So, you know.
I
Thank
love
you so
that.
much, Douglas.
Well, Christina, what a fantastic job. Dave, I think you can go ahead and put the judges back in our green room. Oh,
how do your friends feel about you being one of the 6 finalists?
Their words were, so when are you coming back up with the milk punch? So I was like, I have it. Don't worry, it's in the fridge. It's sitting. We're going to see each other soon.
I love that. Hey, look, once we find out what our exact dates are, we'll have to maybe share. Maybe they can happen to be on vacation. Like, we'll see what happens.
Exactly. Jump on the plane, everyone. Let's go.
Everybody. Well, the story is so beautiful, and the drink is so beautiful, and I expect nothing less, because you're such a thoughtful and talented bartender, and we are so lucky to have you here with us today. And I really love having a cocktail, always having a cocktail at the ready. You know, it's just always being ready to welcome a friend. So, Christina, that was so beautiful, and thank you so much for sharing. And I cannot wait for everyone to see your video a little bit later in the show. We still got a few more presentations first, but then we're gonna watch this video. So, Christina, thank you so much, and we will see you back in just a bit. Well, are you guys ready for the rest of it? Are you still finishing up your drinks? Like, how are you doing on your Hennessy levels? Does anybody need a break so you can go to the store and get more Hennessy? I hope you came prepared today, because we still have so many beautiful Hennessy cocktails to go. And our next one is taking us in to this string of competitors we have that all have ties to Chicago. I'm sure Josh is probably yelling in the green room, because we all know how much Josh loves Chicago. So we have quite a few folks coming up who have ties to Chicago. The next one being Mark Coulter. Hello, friend. How are you?
Hello. How are you doing?
So good. And so we're going back into another cocktail. It's got a food component, and Hennessy already makes me really excited, but then you add food to the mix, and like, I'm sold.
It's perfect, right?
I go. So, Mark, the floor is yours. Tell the people about Hennessy Your Way.
Well, my name is Mark Coulter, and we are going to see how I do Hennessy My Way. So, Hennessy just has such a impact in my history, in the Black community as a whole. For so many of us, you go to a party and somebody's walking around with a bottle of Hennessy in their hand. And it's like it's their personal bottle. Like they're not sharing because it's theirs. But also you have multiple bottles there and you want to share it. And Hennessy is just present. And it's always been present for me. And for me, it's never been the shots. It's always been something that I wanted to sip. When I do competitions, I always have like this tendency to be the mixologist and like do 8 ingredients and just kind of like in your face, we're going to do this, we're going to try this, super technical. But then I thought, we're doing Hennessy My Way. So we went pretty simple this way. Couple ingredients that really mesh together and just bring out all the flavors, all the notes of the Hennessy in a way that is super enjoyable for me. Because when I drink Hennessy My Way, I'm sipping it. I'm taking a moment to sit back, relax, and really enjoy that moment. My cocktail is called Sweet Melody. And it's really encompassing everything that I love. There's music, there's liquor, and then there's food also, which you will see when we get to our beautiful garnish, which I must say took some time to actually perfect. So we're going to get right into this cocktail right now. So we are going to do 1.5 ounces of our Hennessy. And this is going to be a stirred cocktail because this is a fine spirit right here. So we don't want to do anything that's going to bruise it or do anything to disrupt all these beautiful spirits. We're going to do 3/4 of an Amaro Montenegro. We are meshing some wonderful matching notes, some lemon, some citrus, some cloves, a lot of spice in there. Then we're going to sweeten it up. Some maple syrup. I wanted to pull some wonderful ingredients that everybody has at home. You don't have to go out and get these obscure ingredients. You can go right into your cupboard, go right into your fridge, and pull together such a beautiful cognac cocktail. And then what we are going to do, 4 drops of orange bitters, get some citrus in there, and then just 1 drop of some chocolate bitters because we want more sweetness in there. I'm going to pull out some ice for it. And get this stirred together. Right now, I really wish you guys can be here. Between the garnish and just the flavors of this drink, it smells really good in here. Starting this to give it a nice chill. And then we are going to pour this into a rocks glass. I hope you guys are really enjoying this, judges. Like, this is just so good. We're going to serve this over a large ice cube so that we can really take the time to sip and savor this without it getting too diluted too much. Add some more citrus through a lemon swath. We're going to throw that right in there, let that marinate. And then a favorite part to this drink right here is the garnish. I'm going to add some bacon in here. So I want this cocktail to really remind me of something, like I said, that I really enjoy, and that's food, and that's breakfast. This combination really had me thinking French toast. And I'm like, what's the best pairing for French toast? Bacon. This bacon makes it so savory, adds a little bit of salt in there, and that balance right there is, oh my God, delicious. So we have right here our Sweet Melody.
Wow. I mean, chocolate, bitters, bacon, citrus, maple syrup. What more could you ask for?
Nothing. It's good.
I want one right now, and fortunately, I have access to this recipe. So I think after this stream, I will be making myself one. So, judges, I don't want to rush you because I'm sure you're still enjoying this cocktail. But Josh, I'd love to hear your thoughts.
Mark, my dude, man. Two things before I even get to the drink. One, I love your backdrop in the back above you. Nice product placement there.
Man,
Second, I love that protect your piece on your refrigerator, man. I love that. You know what I mean? Me and you talked about that over the past. But I have one question. What made you go with the VS over VSOP? Most of the competitors have used VSOP. What drew you to VS?
So I wanted to keep it simple. I didn't want anything over age. I didn't want to pull too many dark notes. I didn't want to pull too much of the woody notes out of there. I wanted it light. I wanted it sweet.
Word.
And also, like I said, this bottle right here is what I've seen growing up.
Absolutely.
So, like, I'm used to go. Like I said, I'm used to going into a party and walking in and somebody's on the bottle just like this, and it's this label that I remember always seeing. So this is truly Hennessy My Way, because this is what I've always seen. It wasn't until I started bartending that I really got exposed to the XO, the VSOP, the master blenders, and things like that. But for me, this was Hennessy.
Word. Appreciate that. And I'm down the street, so when this is all wrapped up, I'm on the way over, dog.
Josh is going to come quality check that master blenders selection you got there. Jordan, Tara, thoughts, questions?
Yeah, I just have a question about the specs of the Amaro Montenegro and Hennessy, as well as the maple syrup. Can you just tell us a little bit about how you sorted out some of that balance between those? Because you're dealing with a little, some of that sweetness of the Amaro as well as the maple syrup. I loved your story about incorporating the bacon and having the lemon in there, but I would love to hear the thought process about how you found the balance of the specs.
So I love that word balance. To me, balance doesn't mean equal parts. It means everything works together to present and produce a wonderful end product. So for me, it was doing a couple test runs to see where can I, get the proper amount that's going to still shine and, produce this Hennessy that we want to feature our own product, but adding everything that's going to bring everything from the Hennessy out. So I only did a little bit of the maple syrup because I didn't want it to be too overpowering, because I already knew that the Montenegro was going to add some sweetness to it. But I wanted enough of the Montenegro to bring out some of the spice notes that I knew would help with the bacon and the saltiness. And everything tied together all encompassed some citrus notes into it. And it was just going through a couple of runs to see, okay, is this it? No. Is this it? No. Is this it? Yes.
Thank you so much for that. It's always fascinating to me to hear about when you're playing with certain ingredients, how you're going to find that balance, especially when everyone wants not too sweet. So when you're playing with elements that can tend to be, that are bringing in that sweetness, how you find that balance. So thank you for that time and explaining.
Thank you.
Yeah, Mark, Josh and I were talking earlier before everything came on. I was like, man, bacon and to do one of the other competitors, candied almonds, I had to use egg white. So it's like I had breakfast going as I was creating all the elements of this cocktail. It was wonderful. But why the bacon garnish? Because there's a lot. I mean, there's a lot hinging on it. Like you need that garnish to balance that cocktail, because that cocktail comes off sweet. So like in the absence of that salty, savory garnish, you've got an almost an unbalanced cocktail. So why that decision?
Everybody loves bacon. It's bacon. How can you not love it? But you're right. Without the bacon, it would be on the sweeter side. And it's a competition. We do have a certain amount of ingredients that we can use. And I wanted to have fun with it. I wanted to do something a little bit different. And I knew adding some bacon would bring in everything that I needed from multiple garnishes, from multiple ingredients, that tied everything together. The saltiness was the main thing that I was really looking for. And I knew the bacon was really going to do it and truly pair this cocktail together.
Well, I hope this is the evolution of the salt trend in cocktails, that we all move away from salt and into bacon. That would be amazing. And the maple syrup, you know, thanks for supporting the Canadian economy. COVID's been tough. I personally love maple in any aged spirit cocktail. I think it brings out so much of that oak. So it was interesting, your response to Josh's question about the VSOP the VS versus the VSOP, because I think it's maple works really well with VS because VS goes in new oak. So you're pulling out, even though it's young, not had that time, you're pulling out a lot of those spicy notes. I think it works really well. And Amaro Montenegro is a go-to of mine in Hennessy cocktails. So yeah, really nicely done. And I think this is, other than the milk punch, which is, yeah, technically a stirred cocktail, this is our first stirred cocktail. So we've gone, I don't know whether Brittany, you did this somehow alphabetically, we've lined up shaken citrus cocktails into stirred cocktails. It's working out very nicely.
Well, you know, sometimes the stars just align, but I tell you what, Jordan, I'm with you. As much as I appreciate the addition of like a saline solution to enhance the flavor of a cocktail, just for anyone watching who I might sit at your bar one day, you can just take that out and put bacon instead, and I promise you I will not be mad about it.
I feel like you and I have done that before, Brittany.
Absolutely.
Just had a bar, ate bacon, and yeah, I feel like
absolutely.
Mark, I do have one question.
Yes.
What's your favorite master blenders?
Ooh.
Oh my goodness.
Glad he asked you and not me.
Well, I got them all. Here's some
So
more.
I have yet to open up number 4, but as you can see, number 2 has a serious dent in it.
Yeah, I saw that.
3 is so good. that third edition was just so beautiful, and I'm taking my time drinking because I said I was going to save it for like special occasions, and last year happened. I was like, we're just going to drink it and enjoy every day that we have here. So that's what I did. Last year I said, you know what? I'm not going to save these bottles. We're going to enjoy it every single time that we can. So number 3 is near and dear to my heart. Number 3 is one of my favorite numbers, so that's my pick.
Yeah, number 3 is I call it a cognac drinker's cognac. It was Renault, our 8th generation master blender's first blend, after waiting 42 years to take on the role, training with his uncle, the 7th generation, for 16 years, and then finally getting to make his own cognac. So it's a man that's lived and breathed cognac for 42 years, living in the town, and finally taking on the role and getting the keys to the castle, so to speak, getting to make his own blend. So of course he made an iconic cognac that represents everything we love about cognac. So that's amazing. I love them all, don't get me wrong, but 1 is, I think, the start of, or 3 is now the start of a legacy. Like, we can follow one man's career through every different iteration he makes. So cool. Josh, don't drink all his master blenders when you go over later.
Hey, I know a store right by my house. Mark, we can go get some more. Don't even worry about it.
Come, let's do it.
Let's do it. All right, I got you.
Well, I'm very sad that I won't be there for that because I want to go. But I know the two of you will enjoy yourself and have a little cognac on my behalf, and I appreciate that about both of you. And Mark, I really love that point. I think the last year and some change has taught us a lot, but one of the things is like, why save a bottle? Like, if you just celebrate whatever good happened and whatever day it is, because God knows what's going to happen tomorrow.
Well, yeah, I've been collecting for a while, like a long time, and my fiance is always like, why are you adding more bottles? And I said, well, there's going to be a day where I just stop collecting and drink like a goddamn king for the rest of my life and never have to buy another ounce. Like, I don't know, but it keeps, like, medical science is keeping me living longer. So I keep having to collect longer to get to that point of, like, I need to stop now and just drink awesome.
Whatever that day is, text me the day before so I can come by.
Jordan, keep us posted when you're feeling close, so that way we can book some flights to Canada.
Yeah, but then I got to work that into the equation. I'm more than happy to do that, but now it's going to add years to it. We'll figure it out.
I think maybe it should deduct some years, so that way, we're speeding up this process. You got friends to look forward to, but I just, on behalf of everyone on screen right now and everyone in the green room, wanted to say that we're here for you whenever you decide to make the transition into drinking like a king, from collecting like a king. We will be there and support you in your depletion goals.
That's when I'll open some of these guys. Yeah.
Collector versus consumer. I want to consume.
Same. I can't collect because things just don't stay here long enough. When they're good, I drink them because they're good. And I'm sorry, Hennessy does not last very long in this household. So
no bartender that says, "Oh yeah, I buy 2 bottles so I can open one and sell the other one later." They're lying to themselves. That doesn't happen.
Never.
I've not ever sold 1 bottle.
Never.
Why would you? Oh, you got the good stuff. Don't give it away. Well, Mark, beautiful job. I can't wait for folks to see your video. Judges, thank you for this lovely conversation. And we are almost ready for our next competitor. And like I said, we're keeping the Chicago ties very strong here. So it is my pleasure and great honor to bring up the one and only Michael Holliday, who is our next Hennessy My Way USA competitor. Michael, thank you so much for joining us today. I have to tell you that your video is so good, and I cannot wait for the people to see it. But I know your presentation is going to be just as wonderful. So I'm going to stop talking and give you the floor.
Great. Thanks for having me out here, Brittany. Thank you, Tara, Jordan, and Josh. Yeah, Hennessy My Way, right? I'm Michael Holliday, also known as Holiday, from the south side of Chicago. My pronouns are him, his, he, him, his, sorry. And like being from the south side, I remember Hennessy being at all of the block parties, right? All of the house parties, at the spades table, graduation, weddings. It's memory, it's family. It's part of our culture. Hennessy, you'll grab a bottle. Traditionally, we'll pass it around. Everyone will touch the bottle. And then we'll open the bottle. And then we'll pour some out. We pour some out as a form of libation. Before, you just know, part of our culture is pouring out for the homies. As you grow and evolve and seek out more greatness and the essential of your passion in life, I've learned that this libation is a true calling out to our ancestors. So I'm going to pour some out for my ancestors, who some I was able to drink and enjoy Hennessy with, and some I wish that I did. So I'm going to pour, and in true tradition, I would like for you to respond with Ashe. Ashe is essentially saying amen, pulling for the essence of the spirit of those who've passed on, in agreement to their greatness that they placed in your journey. Nellie Holiday, Ashe. As I say Ashe, please join. Johnny Holiday, Bessie Wilson, Charles Wilson, I'd like for you to take this time and think about those that you might have lost and you wish that they were here today to share a glass with you. We'll take a moment. Ashe. So in Chicago, when we did make a cocktail with Hennessy, with my group of peers, we chose Hennessy because we were on the south side of Chicago. That means a lot, because you're going to other parts of Chicago or other neighborhoods, they weren't drinking Hennessy. So as loyalty to our community, we drank Hennessy. and it's delicious, of course. But any spades table, you might see a glass of Hennessy. Someone drinking it neat, someone ice. But you always saw that person with a Henny and apple juice. I was one of those people. As with my mother, my auntie, my grandfather, Henny and apple juice. So we take that Henny and apple juice beverage, and through my time in the industry and things that I've learned about tasting notes, such as Hennessy, the vanilla, the earthy notes, the woodiness from the spirit. I'm using the Hennessy VSOP. We take those notes, and I wanted to pair it with apples. So I chose the Granny Smith apples because it's not that overwhelmingly sweet. A lot of times when you think of like Hennessy cocktails, they're all delicious, but people tend to go the sweet route. And right now in my journey, I'm trying to experiment more with bitter and savory notes and things that complement to enhance the true nuance of the spirit. So I'm going to start with, I have here a little Granny Smith apple juice and lemon mixture. That's a total of 2.5 ounces. Then I'm going to add my honey fennel syrup. I use a fennel tincture to fortify the honey syrup, right? So when I think of like Hennessy and those notes, Hennessy and the notes and the nuances in the Granny Smith apple, fennel pairs with it, giving it this delightful fragrance or floral notes on the palate, but it doesn't overcompensate to cover any of the notes that you would miss, or that you would can possibly cover up in the Hennessy. So I'm going to add an ounce, and then I'm going to go with a little bit of Hennessy, right? So this Hennessy, I'm going to go 2 ounces because in Chicago, you can't pour someone a light Henny beverage. They're all, hey, what? I need more Hennessy, right? Hennessy's always the #1 ingredient. I need more Hennessy. So I'm doing this for my cousins, my aunties, my grandfather, grandmother. We're going to keep it Hennessy forward, right? So we're going to go 2 ounces of this great Hennessy VSOP. And then I'm going to add a little bit of bitter aperitif. I'm going to go a little bit of Sailors. Boom, I'm going to go with 3/4 ounces of Sailors. And then I'm going to garnish it. A little apple fan here. And the tops of the fennel. A little bit of wild fennel tops here. Great. Now, the thing about apples, right? Granny Smith apples, when you have the cheers, when you have the proper time and technique, you can take the apple juice and you can actually aerify it like in a whip blender, and you can make that fluffiness increase with a little bit of addition of sucrose esters. And yes, this is a great cocktail, but in notion of always achieving master level and moving forward, you want to make sure you get some aeration on it. And if you want to add more of the floral notes to it, a trick that I like to use, and I add a little bit of diluted essential oils from the fennel. But nonetheless, cheers to our ancestors, to our friends, to our memories of loved ones, and Hennessy. Thank you.
Well, what a beautiful presentation. I'm just floored. I almost don't even have any words, and that doesn't happen to me. It was a fantastic job. I am so excited about this cocktail, and I really, really love the harkening back to like Hennessy and apple juice. I feel like apple juice is something that's a staple in our life, and then at some point we just stop drinking it. And so I really love this like very thoughtful take on incorporating more apple juice into all of our lives. Judges, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I echo that, Brittany. You and I talked about that before, that I found it like, it's so odd that as children we drink so much apple juice, and then at some point we stop, and bars don't carry apple juice unless they, it's a restaurant that maybe caters to children in some way. But cranberry juice we don't drink as a kid, and yet bars carry cranberry juice. Like they seem to be, they're holding up the cranberry industry, it seems. Whereas I don't understand it, because the addition of Hennessy and apple juice I tell people that all the time in trainings, and there's always somebody that's like, "Yep, I've had that. It's amazing," because it works so well. So your connection with that, awesome. But where'd the fennel come from? Like, I know you talked about the pairing, but like that is you hit on it twice with the fennel seed infusion and then the fennel garnish, and it's not obvious.
Yeah.
But it makes the cocktail complex, and it makes it work, and it doesn't take away from either. It adds to them. I thought it's such a, when you hear build cocktail, you think, oh, okay, that's simple, but you've got a lot of complex flavors working here in yet a seemingly simple kind of put together cocktail.
Yeah. So when it comes to flavors, my first passion in life was cooking. So I've been cooking since I was 7, and where I'm from, I didn't see someone who really had equity in cooking, right? So I was just told to go to school, right? Go to school, go to college. I watched the Cosby Show, so I was like, great, I'm going to go to school and become a doctor, because that's the representation that I saw, and that's what I thought success was. But cooking stuck with me, and when I ended up in this industry and behind the bars and creating cocktails, it was just I'm reading the flavor Bible. I'm talking to my grandmother, right? I'm talking to my mother about old recipes, and yeah, it's just flavors. I really am passionate about the combination of flavors. And when it comes to spirits, I don't want to have any flavors or notes take precedence to the spirit. I want the spirit to shine, and for the nuances of the spirit and the additions to harmonize as opposed to just combat in a cocktail. So yeah, just challenging myself to to read more, to talk to more people about flavors. Thanks to Hennessy, I have the opportunity to travel. I don't really travel out the country much, so to travel and get to experience more like cultures and foods and spices would only elevate, my game and essentially our industry.
Perfect. I heard all that. I just had to deal with my puppy who just went ballistic. But
yeah,
I mean, you certainly took the culinary side, because this is one of those things that's like a complex layer that you can learn from chefs, and it's not immediately obvious. Like if you didn't have the fennel garnish, you wouldn't drink it and go, oh, fennel, but it adds so much to the drink that I think it's a brilliant ad.
Thank you. I appreciate it, Jordan.
Josh, Tara?
Ladies first.
Well, Jordan, that was such a great point. A lot of the notes that I had on this were very much centered around the use of fennel. Holiday, question on that. You touch on how very frequently we see cognac cocktails leaning into those elements of sweetness, and you really wanted to go another way. Did you have any other directions, or was this like where you wanted to go, even the purposeful use of Granny Smith apple juice as opposed to, I love apple, by the way, but is this really the direction that you wanted to go the whole time?
So I knew I wanted to pay homage to it's more about the story, right? It's more about my memories. And I knew that if I can take things and connect them to what's truly like center of my heart, which is like my family or things that inspire me, that from there we can go whichever way, right? So I knew I wanted apple juice, and I wanted to highlight it without going I guess the typical route, because I don't want for the industry to see people of color just like a one shot, pony, or just like put in the box. I wanted to go outside the box and show that it's more than just spirit, sweet, sour, right? That I'm truly passionate, like many others in our industry are truly passionate about taking this as our canvas and telling our stories and what we can bring to our industry.
That was really beautiful, and I appreciate, as part of your ritual, how you and your family enjoy Hennessy. So many of us have lost people throughout these past 16 months or so, and your sharing of your vulnerability and your family story, and honoring not only the people with whom we're sharing cognac or other spirits with, but honoring those who are no longer with us. That element of vulnerability as part of your story, thank you so much for sharing that with everyone. That was really beautiful. Thank you. And my heart's with you.
Well, thank you for being here.
Yeah, man, to piggyback on what Tara said, bro, you know, somebody who's lost the guys in the last year that introduced me to Hennessy. I felt that. I also felt, like you said, Hennessy and apple juice. I remember walking around the party with the bottle of VS and the Martinelli's apple juice. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I resonate with your story. Your story was amazing, brother. Blessings to you as well, man. And it's an A1 cocktail, man. Thank you.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Well, I could not agree with our judging panel more. Beautiful presentation, beautiful cocktail, and every ingredient is just so thoughtful and tells such a beautiful story in the glass, even without the beautiful presentation. That was just over the top, fantastic. Michael, thank you so much for sharing this beautiful drink with us. Thank you for sharing your story with us. I cannot wait for everyone to see your video a little bit later in the stream.
Yeah.
Hold on real quick. Can I do one more thing before we go?
Absolutely.
Yo, shout out representing the South Side, man. Because I'm a fellow South Sider like you, brother. And I appreciate that, man, that you're showing there actually is two Chicagos. You got Chicago and then you got the South Side of Chicago, man. So hats off to you, Tim.
Appreciate you, man.
Absolutely. Well, Michael, thank you so much.
Thank you.
We are getting close. We are going to wrap this up with another Chicagoan. How did we get so lucky? I think it's just because our friends in Chicago and our friends in Texas and our friends in Rhode Island, they know what they're doing. But our final competitor today is just like the rest of the Chicagoans we've had on today. One of my favorites, Nigel Van.
Bonjour.
How are you?
I'm fantastic. How are you doing?
So good. Well, I tell you what, if nothing else, you look the part. You've got. I love your getup.
Thank you. You got to manifest it. I am in France right now, so yeah, I'm here.
Are you
I'm
wearing
here.
pants?
This is a podcast from Paris.
Are you wearing pants in
day.
France?
Hmm?
Are you wearing pants in France?
Not when I dance.
I like that.
Took a chance.
Well, Nigel, your cocktail speaks a lot to who I am as a person because it leans on inspiration that is also kind of nostalgic for me, and also gives a nod to the beautiful world of dessert foods. So tell the people about this cocktail you've created.
Yeah. First of all, I'm going to take a moment just to say thank you to Hennessy and Lush Life for this great opportunity to showcase a passion of mine, which is cocktail making. Yeah, so this cocktail is called The Last Slice. This is based off of a TV show that I grew up on. I mean, I was watching the episodes live when it was like new episodes Thursday nights. I was a weird kid in high school watching the show in middle school. I grew up on the show. I still watch the show. I watched it last night to get ready for today. So this cocktail is called The Last Slice, and it is inspired by the show The Golden Girls. I'm going to tell you about my ritual, though. Prior to COVID, prior to shutdown, I was working a lot. I would work long hours and come home exhausted and just crash and go to bed. If I went to bed exhausted and cranky, I honestly would probably wake up exhausted and cranky. And it's hard to kind of make a good day if you just woke up having a bad day or so. So I learned to manifest and change that. So now when I get home after a long shift, as much as I may want to go to bed, I'm going to decompress a little bit. I'm going to think about my day. I'm going to think about the highlights, what went well, what am I thankful for. I'm also going to think about the things that I'm excited for. Like last night, I was excited to do this right now for you. So I'm here. And with that mood, Saints, it just makes me a better person. At least that's how I feel in my eyes here. And I thought about how that they do that in the Golden Girls. You have 4 ladies from different walks of life coming together at the end of the day, venting about their stress, giving each other support, but sharing their stories over cheesecake until they get to the last slice, which, in most cases they share. So that's a little bit about what I'm going to do today. Now, I chose Hennessy VSOP because this is my favorite expression out of all of them. When I smell it, I automatically get all the spices that you get, like the cinnamon, the baking notes, the anise. But then when I taste it, I get all the stone fruit. And I was doing this during the other competitors going up, so it started here. I'm just saying. But a lot of flavors I get. It's very complex. But one thing that I really pull from it is the texture. It's the creamy notes. It almost gives me like a marzipan thing going on. I get coffee cake. I love food. Food is way more important to me than ever. I told my story about how I wasn't eating when I was working a lot, and now I'm stopping and I'm taking a break and giving myself the fuel so I can do what I do proficiently. And I want to showcase that in this cocktail. So I'm going to start off by saying that I took some Blanco Vermouth, and I just infused this with some graham crackers. So the Blanco already gives it the citrus notes that I want with the aromatics that I need for this. But I'm going to start off with 1 ounce. I'm going to double this up, though, because I love it so much. I'm going to chug it. But I infused this with some graham crackers for like about 24 hours. So I took 2 cups and 150 grams of graham crackers, kind of macerated that, threw it in a deli, let that sit, let that chill. And it just comes off, and it just smells like lemon meringue automatically from the vermouth, but it just, that graham cracker bumps it up a little bit. Next up, I did make a rosé syrup, if you would, taking equal parts rosé, sugar, and then some strawberries, and letting that kind of come together and make love and be one, you know? I say make love because it's friends. That's what we do. And then next up, I'm going to add a couple of dashes of Peychaud's bitters. So this is just going to give it a little bit of medicinal notes to it, but it's actually tying everything together. Now, I know when I'm talking, I'm saying graham crackers, I'm saying rose and strawberry. These are sweet notes that people think of, but sweet doesn't necessarily think of like sugar. I want you to focus more on the fruit notes and not the sweet. And that's what this Peychaud does. It kind of draws that back. It dries it up a little bit. Now I'm going to add some mole bitters. This gives me the elements that are going to enhance the VSOP with that spice, but this is going to add a little bit more chocolate notes, a little bit more honey, even some spices with some cayenne. So we'll do a couple droppers of that. And then the star of the show, the very superior Old Pale. Shout out to King George IV for making Hennessy try something new and making a standard throughout. So this is just going to be 2 ounces in each. So like I said, I'm doubling up for 4. And this is a strong and stirred cocktail, so there's no citrus added to it. I'm not shaking it up. Just a couple of cubes. Now, I don't tell people this all the time, but if you want to make a great cocktail, it doesn't matter what you put in it. You got to smile when you make it because people can taste that energy. They know what's in there. So you can't just be like, but you know, if I was in France, maybe I smoke a little cigarette. But no, this is what I usually do. I'm smiling, I'm cheesing, I'm usually multitasking, whatever I'm doing. So I'm doing something else. I'm drawing, I'm writing, I'm watching the Golden Girls. Like, you go, Dorothy. I'm rooting for you. Find that man. But yeah, we're going to stir this. We're going to make it chill. We're going to dilute it a little bit. That should be about it. Now this cocktail is just going to be served over ice and a big rock. And you can stop there, but I'm Nigel Van. I like to be whimsical. So I was wearing this, you know, just because it's a Monday. I got to do something fun. So what I did is I actually took my glass and rimmed it with a little bit of graham cracker, as you see. And now this is why I doubled it up. See, I planned ahead with my mise en place. You smile and look cool. This is the best photo. And wait, there's still more. We're actually going to garnish this with a little bit of strawberry. As you see, and I made some whipped cream that infused with Hennessy VSOP. Let that go on top. And here we have my cocktail, the last slice. So again, it is inspired by just decompressing, thinking about your day, not going to bed angry because you need to have a good foundation. So when I wake up, I'm refreshed, I'm good to go. Everyone's going to feel that energy. It's going to make all of us have a good day. And that's something that it took a while to practice, you know, but if I put myself first, I actually can do a much better at taking care of you. And you'll see that if you come to the Berkshire room instead of my bar or anywhere I'm around. But yeah, that was my presentation. Ritual, it really ties in with Hennessy in my way, where I connect with it that, you know, when Richard Hennessy created something, he started with a good foundation. He wasn't picking any grape from any soil from anywhere. He was taking the best soil from Cremant Cognac the uni grapes when they're ready, not just when they're there, but when they're ready and they're good to go, making the best of it. So you taking the best, making the best, because you can't make something good from something mediocre. So cheers.
Yes, yes, yes. I loved everything about that. From your outfit to the drink to the graham cracker rim. Big fan. Josh, Tara?
I mean, everything about this drink says Nigel, so it really makes a lot of sense. I love your energy, brother. I love the story. Cocktail is amazing, man. This is truly Nigel's way of doing Hennessy. Like, he embodied what the competition is. So thank you for that, man.
Of course, thank you.
And I wasted whipped cream all over my
The whipped cream is super fun. The presentation was super fun. Graham crackers. Have you ever done something like that before? Or was this something new that you were like, let me try this?
I say, let me try this. I'm trying to do new things, so I want to, try new things, get new outcomes, But yeah, because I was really going for a cheesecake, I'm thinking of like most crusts, you get that graham cracker crust from the cheesecake. So I wanted to embody that cocktail or that dessert in this cocktail to the full effect of just the presentation. Because like I said, I could have left it here, but I'm at a bar. If I have my server walking this over to a table, I mean, it might look cool, might look interesting, but this is something that people are like, what is that? Is that what's on that rim? What is that on top? And so this is like, the effect that make people want more of it.
You need that fajita effect. Had you tried any other vermouths, or was that what was kind of the process of making that? Because that was just such a whimsical addition for me that I really appreciated.
Definitely. So I did, this is all based off of a foundation of food, a particular item of food. And if you look at cheesecake recipes, there is a lemon involved in there. And I was contemplating whether I want to use a vermouth, or if I just wanted to use a lemon expression and have this be a shaken cocktail. But because I was trying to do a little grown and sexy, I wanted to keep it a stirred cocktail. And that Bianco vermouth definitely gave me the brightness that I needed without adding the actual citrus to this cocktail. And I really think that it cuts that rosé syrup that's in there, or they call it the rose syrup. But I think it helped balance that out versus me putting an actual citrus in there.
Thank you for that. One last very important question. Which Golden Girl best represents Nigel?
Man, I will tell you, in my 30-something years of life, I have felt each one, but I'm going to say Dorothy. It's the underdog that it's complicated, sophisticated, and she wins in the end. But I have related to everyone at some point in my life.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Well done.
You make a fantastic Dorothy Sparnak.
Who are you to judge me? No. You haven't seen the show.
They were ahead of their time. I'll tell you. I mean, as a longtime Golden Girl, they do not get enough shine. They were way ahead of their time. And I aspire to, with my crew, have a Golden Girl lifestyle. Be in South Florida, which I'm already headed there. Hang with my girls in a house and be together and take care of each other and have fun. Be sexual and be risky and have fun and show that you could do anything at any age.
And 30 years later, I mean, this show is still relevant. I mean, you can watch it today for the first time and still find it funny. But to be honest, every ingredient here represents a character. The whimsical comes from Rose being youthful and childlike. That sophistication coming from Dorothy is the stirred. It's the elements of the complex with the bitters. The sexy rosé and the whipped cream and strawberries. I mean, that's Blanche. And then I use VSOP. I mean, these are a lot of matured women who with life experiences coming together. So, I mean, that maturation here really, I want to highlight that in this cocktail as well. So everything makes sense. It has a reason.
I don't know if any of your ingredients are sassy or angry enough to be Sophia, but she would be the one who made the cheesecake. So it checks
out. One of these, have two of these, and you will be your own Sophia.
I strive to be Sophia Petrillo on a daily basis. Those are my wake up goals. How can I be more like Sophia Petrillo? Jordan, what are you thinking? Are you just sitting back enjoying this?
No, the Golden Girls reference is taking me back a long ways. But the graham cracker vermouth has got me. Like, that's what? Like, I don't, what? It's, I love competitions because they bring out, I used to say, like, competitions I love competing in because they brought out, like, the creativity, the stuff that you could never possibly execute in a bar. Though, Nigel, I know you've worked in some bars where you could execute those things and it was completely legit. But I was impressed when I did it, just how much of the graham came out, how much it, like, took the vermouth and skewed it over in a way. And so many infusions are so much of their base with, like, an additive, and the graham, it's like 50-50. It's amazing. I was completely impressed by that. And the way that you made a cocktail that's based off of a basically sweet dessert, a dessert that so many people are like, no, I can't have cheesecake right now because I'm on any number of eating plans. But it's a heavy thing, and you've made a cocktail that wasn't heavy in a way, was incredibly drinkable and really enjoyable in a way, and you've managed to link it to every Golden Girl, strangely. So wonderful. Like, the ritual is great, and I think every bartender relates to that, like, getting home from work. And I'm personally impressed that you have the ability, when you get home from work, to still make one more cocktail.
It took practice. It took practice. I can probably put this in the fridge right now. It'll be cool. Yeah, it's really important. I mean, I think that's something I really took away from the hard year of 2020, and I hope that that's what many people took away. But, like, as an industry person, we are literally trained. Josh, you heard me say this before, that we need to take care of other people before we take care of ourselves. You know, it doesn't matter what kind of day you're having. You need to be on stage and smile and make people feel great. And then some of us forget to flip that when we get home. And like I said, I'll just crash and burn and, like, wake up and it's like, oh, I got to get ready for work right now. And I don't feel like I'm a person. But, like, when I take the time and I decompress, and again, like, I have to, I don't care what kind of day that I have to think about what good happened. What am I thankful for? And that makes me appreciate whatever day I had and look forward to even better days to come. And I think it's really important for us to take care of ourselves and create a great foundation, because you can't, like I said, you can try to be the tallest tree or the highest building, but if you don't have that foundation, you're not going anywhere far. You're not going anywhere long. So take care of yourself. You're only one.
Well, I love that. And I do appreciate that you have given me an idea for a new show, Stump Jordan Bushell. On this episode, graham cracker infused vermouth.
Or where you got that best.
Well, maybe we have Nigel on for 2 episodes. I feel like there's a lot there. That
Thrifting. I mean, again, going back, let's tie it back into earlier cocktails. Let's call thrifting. Let's do a Lush Life thrifting episode.
I love that. I love all of these ideas, but we are at a very important time in the broadcast. So, judges, do you have any additional questions or thoughts for Nigel?
I'm good.
Okay. Well, Nigel, you did a fantastic job. No surprise there. I cannot wait to watch Golden Girls soon. So what we're going to do now is we're going to watch everybody's video entries. And what that means is, judges, I need you to go back through your score sheets, make sure everything that's in your brain made it onto the digital paper that you were assigned, because pretty soon here, we're going to be tabulating some scores, and we're going to get our My Way USA 2021 champion out of this deal. So without further ado, let's see these beautiful videos.
Hennessy My Way. Vi højt og med sig. Hennessy Fias. honey. Honest with who? Soda and sea salt. Hennessy. Enjoy. Hennessy, my way or yours.
The first time I was introduced to Hennessy, it was a hectic nightclub setting. It was a loud and fast experience. It never really took. That is until I found a way to do Hennessy my way. I slowed it down. I made it a part of my get ready ritual for the cocktail classes I teach. I take a little extra time getting ready. I do my makeup, get dressed so I feel pretty, do my hair. There may or may not be some dancing involved. I usually have a drink to set the mood. My cocktail is called Slow Your Roll. It starts off with 1.5 ounces of Hennessy, a 1/2 ounce of lemon juice, followed by a 1/2 ounce of grapefruit juice. And then I add in a big heaping bar spoon of orange marmalade. I add some ice and I shake that bad boy up. I like to then add in 1.5 ounces of sparkling mineral water. And in this case, I go for the ones that have the smaller, delicate bubbles. They just make me feel refined and fancy when I'm getting ready. I double strain it into one of my pieces of vintage glassware so that I can have an excuse to buy more. And then I serve it with a side, or it could be called a garnish, of Hennessy candied almonds that I flame an orange peel over. And voila, that is Hennessy my way.
Kitchen as I show you Hennessy My Way. I'm so excited to bring this cocktail over to you and demonstrate to you how Hennessy has played a role in my life over the past 15 years. It's going to be using the expression of Hennessy VSOP, which is so beautiful with its vanilla and caramel notes, dried fruit, touch of apple. It's going to be all brought together with something really surprising, a little bit of coffee and salt, to create this whole new experience that's something also relatable at the same time. So join me as we explore Hennessy My Way.
To
create the base for this clarified milk punch, we're using fresh orange juice as well as lemon juice. This is going to give us the acidity we need. Fresh baking spices for those beautiful aromas and flavor, as well as a dark caramel. It's going to give us that sweetness we're looking for. A dark brewed espresso is our secret ingredient. This espresso is particularly chosen to complement the notes in the Hennessy VSOP. Stirring all these ingredients together, it's going to sit for about 15 minutes just to extract the flavor from those fresh ground spices, and we'll be able to get the aromatics we're looking for. Afterwards, it's going to go in the fridge for 1 to 2 hours. While the cocktail sits, I'm going to talk briefly about the inspiration for my drink, which was my friends. I met these amazing ladies almost 15 years ago at college. Little did we know then all that life had in store from us. We've celebrated everything from birthdays to weddings, graduations, career changes, you name it. We each live in different states even at this time, but distance can't keep us apart. Even this past year was no match for us. We obviously kept in touch via FaceTime. I had my first sip of Hennessy with these ladies, and we still toast every time we meet. As the milk punch is almost ready, we're going to prepare the glasses by painting a thick stripe about 1.5 inches wide with caramel and rolling it into our espresso salt blend. This aromatic salt is going to create a great contrast on our tongue as we sip the cocktail. Once the milk punch is ready, we're going to strain it through a fine coffee filter. The aromatics are absolutely beautiful. You can already smell the espresso and the spices the minute you open the jar. This is going to take about 1 hour to go through the strain. Now the best part, to build the cocktail. You're going to pour 2 ounces of our clarified milk punch base into a mixing glass, followed by 2 ounces of Hennessy VSOP. The minute you pour these both into the mixing glass, you could already see how the aromatics and the profile is going to work together. It's absolutely beautiful. Some ice, and then we're going to stir for 5 to 10 seconds to chill and slightly dilute. All that's left is to pour into your glass. Thank you for sharing this moment in time with me. I'm so excited that I got to share my Hennessy ritual with you. Cheers to everyone from Hennessy. This is my way. And a final cheers to my friends. I can't wait to continue the celebration with you ladies throughout the years.
Hello, my name is Mark Coulter and I'm a bartender from Chicago, Illinois. And this is my submission for the Hennessy My Way competition, Sweet Melody. For me, Hennessy My Way is all about something smooth, something balanced. And that's what this cocktail is for me. Balance doesn't always mean equal parts. We're going to be doing a 3-ingredient cocktail, but sometimes you want to do a little bit more of, let's say, the Hennessy to highlight a different flavor that's going to really complement it, just because there's a smaller amount. Everything doesn't have to be equal to truly be on the same level. So what we're going to do is we're going to first start off with our Hennessy. We're going to do 1.5 ounces. And this is going to be a stirred cocktail, nice and peaceful, nice and gentle. We're going to do 3/4 ounces, 0.75 ounces of our Amaro Montenegro. And then we're going to add some sweetness to this cocktail. 1/2 ounce of maple syrup. Get that right in there. We're gonna round this cocktail off with some bitters. Have some orange bitters right here, 4 drops. And then just 1 drop of these chocolate bitters. These chocolate bitters are so intense, you just need 1 drop. There we go. And we're going to give this a wonderful stir. Get all of the ingredients integrated and get our cocktail a nice chill to it. Once we are all done with that, we are going to pour this cocktail right inside of our rocks glass. I wish you guys could be here because it already smells so good. And now, double garnish, we're going to give this a lemon zest. Then we're going to throw that lemon peel inside of there because we want this citrus to integrate with this cocktail. And then we're going to add, yes, this is a piece of bacon. This bacon is going to supply some meat to it, some nice saltiness that's going to blend so well with the rest of our drink. And here we are, our sweet melody. Cheers. Oh my goodness, that's so good. Thank you all very much.
I'm Holly from the South Side Chicago. Where you're from doesn't define you, but like Grey Terroir, it fortifies your greatness. So whether it's Hennessy neat or Hennessy and apple juice, like we used to enjoy, just keep doing it your way. This is Hennessy My Way, the Hennessy South Side.
Hello world, hello Lush Life, hello Hennessy. My name is Nigel Van. I'm a bartender in Chicago. If you're ever in Chicago, you can find me at a place called the Berkshire Room. Today I'm going to show you my ritual using Hennessy. This is all about me when I want to come home from work and decompress. And that's when I have a sweet tooth before I go to bed and I want to watch some TV. I'm flipping through my channels. I don't really know what to watch, so sometimes when I get lost, I end up just going to something I know and I've seen a million times in my life, and that is the Golden Girls. So I was inspired to make a Golden Girls like cocktail using Hennessy VSOP, and I call this cocktail the Last Slice, and I'm going to show you how I make it. So I'm going to start off with Hennessy VSOP. I really was attracted to the body of this. I get a little bit of marzipan, I get a little bit of chocolate, some stone fruits, so everything that I was inspired to put in like a cheesecake. So I'm going to start off with the whole 2 ounces of that. It goes right into the soup mixing glass because we're going to stir this later on. Now I also made a graham cracker infused vermouth. I used a Bianco vermouth and infused that with graham crackers for about a day and a half. And this gives me some more elements that you would find in a cheesecake. So this is going to go 1 whole ounce. And then because Rose is one of my favorite characters, I took some rosé and I actually simmered that down and added some sugar to it. So this is a rosé syrup. Also has a little bit of strawberries that was infused in that as well. And we're only going to do about a ½ ounce of that. And when I say about a ½ ounce, I mean a ½ ounce. That goes in there. Next up, for a little bit of some complexity, I'm going to add a couple of dashes of Peychaud's bitters, just 1 and 2. And then for some other notes that you're going to find in cheesecake, a little bit of maybe like a spice, allspice, anise. I'm going to use some mole bitters. And the reason why it's mole is because I really like the cinnamon element that we're putting into there. And I'm just going to do 2 half drops, or 2 half droppers. Now this is a stirred cocktail, so we're going to add some ice to it. Stir, 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 stir. We're going to chill that up. I'm going to speed it up. We're going to do a little bit of movie magic with that. And then this is going to get strained over ice into a glass that has graham crackers to it.
There they are. Those are our top 6 videos. We have already seen all of these beautiful people present their drinks. We got to watch the video. We finally get to see our blind judge who's been sequestered all day. Thank you, Lindsay, for sacrificing and tasting all of these cocktails blindly. We appreciate it.
It was my pleasure. They were all so good, and getting to watch the stream today and getting to see who all made each drink was so much fun too, because I haven't gotten to see any of it. I've been looking at a list of ingredients for a week and a half. So I got to see all these really great ingredients and incredible combinations, and I was just so excited to see everybody put their best foot forward and share their cocktails with us today.
Yeah, I know. Up until you got through tasting, you've only known the drinks as recipe 1, recipe 2, recipe 3.
Yep.
But these are all the beautiful faces to the recipe numbers. So before we just, dole out all these big prizes, I think there's been a little twist. I think one thing we've learned from the last, it feels like 10 years that we've been locked in our homes is things grow and change. And I know our friends at Tennessee were incredibly impressed with all of the entries. And so, Jordan, I think maybe you should talk about what prizes are on the line here.
So, prizes on the line would be getting to do a guest shift in Paris. And if I feel incredibly fortunate in my role, I've been with Hennessy for just over 10 years now. And I've been to Paris a number of times. And I've always been blown away by the Paris cocktail scene, that it is small but potent. I feel like kind of where the mixology scene is definitely sort of, you can go to almost any town in America and find a great cocktail bar that could stand its test versus a lot of the world's largest cities. Paris has culminated its passion, in a number of key places, and there's always something beautiful going on there. So the winner today is going to be doing a guest shift in Paris with some other bartenders from around the world. And I think it's going to be beautiful, because one of the things I love about Hennessy, and that has kept me for over 10 years with this beautiful brand, is that no matter where you are in the world, you have a different view of it. It has been it's been on every continent that has a standing population. So not Antarctica, but every continent for over 150 years. And it's been ingratiated into so many different cultures. And they use it in so many different ways, that so many of you talked about it the way that you were introduced to Hennessy. And we're going to have a pile of bartenders that were introduced to Hennessy through their cultures in different ways, all combining in one room in Paris, which is already, for me, a very creative city, because so many of you spoke to how you gained your inspiration through the culinary field. And, French culinary is, if I move to France one day, I'm probably going to be 1,000 pounds really quick, because foie gras on everything for me, pretty much, and everything about that culture speaks to food and speaks to these rituals and these moments. So I think that's going to be a very, very beautiful thing. And then beyond that, you're all going to come to enjoy those cocktails from that guest bartender in Paris. And in Cognac. So we're sending all of you to Cognac to experience the rituals of Cognac. That's awesome. But then also we'll be in Paris afterwards and experience that as well, because I think the duality of the worlds that Hennessy lives in the present and the past is a really beautiful thing that leads to a lot of beautiful rituals and leads to a lot of beautiful moments. And I think when you go to a place that is a domain of origin, or in France we call AOC, appellation origin of contrôle. When you go to a place where something is made and the controls are such that it can only be made there, can only be made a certain way, you understand the spirit, and all of you have proved you understand the spirit pretty well, but you understand the spirit a little bit more by understanding its origin story and understanding where it came from. And then you can see how it links to your own individual stories. So I'm super excited to host you all there.
Awesome.
And I'm excited to see the winner and those cocktails in Paris, because I think you're not going to only impress the Paris scene, but you're going to find a lot of love from the Paris scene and a lot of integration from the world of Hennessy bartenders around there, because that's what it's all about. It's about that bartending community. We're a small clique that chose to take on a very, very intimidating world of, like, you know, it's not just a 40-hour work week. It's like we go home sore. We go home, you know, we stand up to do our job. We put everyone else before us. And I'm going to take you on a trip that puts you before everyone. So hopefully that's going to be it's going to be valuable for all of you. But I learn from everybody that goes there, so it's going to be valuable for me as well. So I'm super excited for all of you and the winner to do their thing in Paris.
Well, we've got 6 people who probably need to start packing.
I just saw a lot of smiles pop up, like, as I said that.
6 people who need to start packing. Now, we will be going in 2022, but, like, you can never plan for a trip to France too early. So go ahead and start working that out. But as Jordan said, one of you is going to be having a little guest shift at a top secret Paris location that Jordan won't tell me, because he knows I will tell all of you, because I don't know how to keep my mouth shut. So we'll be learning more about that soon. But also, our 2021 My Way champion is going to get a full feature with Tara from Thirsty Media. So Tara, tell us about the feature and about why it's so fun to highlight bartenders, like, as a job.
Oh, it is such a tremendous honor and a lot of fun. And the presentations show a little bit of why it is so fun. There are incredible stories that can be told in a glass, and there's such personal stories to hear everyone's different inspiration coming from Hennessy and cognac, taking a spirit and translating it to your personal story, where you live, your experiences, your palate. The creativity is boundless. And it's always exciting for me, especially working with Lush Life, to meet so many different people, because it really is personal history. It's people's lives. And we, as an industry in hospitality, we tend to focus a lot globally in the media on the food side, the culinary side, the chef side. So it is a tremendous honor of mine as someone in the media to really focus on the beverage, the bar, because there are so many stories. And as we can tell from these 6 cocktails, also congratulations, all of you. I'm a little jealous you're going to Cognac in Paris. Some of my favorite places. But yeah, those are places with stories. There's so much there. So it's a huge honor. It's so much fun for me. Today was so much fun, everyone's presentation. So I'm excited to dig a bit more deeply, and more importantly, to get to showcase one of these fantastic bartenders with all of the thirsty readers and followers, because they should know about all of them. But luckily I get to spend time with one, and hopefully throughout the years I get to spend more time with all of them.
Well, I mean, if we're all so lucky, we'll get to spend more time with these 6 humans. And then another prize for our 2021 My Way USA champion is going to be a full scholarship to Portland Cocktail Week 2022, because we're going to actually do in-person events again. And nobody knows Portland Cocktail Week like our fearless leader, creative director, Lindsay Johnson, because it's hers. So, Lindsay, tell the people what they've won.
Oh my goodness. Well, we're going to be back doing Portland Cocktail Week live in person together. And we're so excited that at least one of you, hopefully all of you, will get to join us for that really fun experience. And, when you come to Portland Cocktail Week, there are a bunch of different ways you can do it. But when you get to come as a student, you get that full experience, right? You get to go to all the classes. You get to go to all the events. You're first in line for everything. Plus, you get to stay with us at our little host hotel. So you get to be right there in the middle of the action. And we would be so stoked to have all of you join us, and I'm hoping we can make that happen. So congratulations to the winner, who I cannot wait, Brittany, for you to tell us finally who it is.
Well, one of you is going to have to be booking 2 flights, getting on 2 flights. We'll take care of the booking because our winner is going to France and coming to Portland Cocktail Week, courtesy of Portland Cocktail Week in Hennessy. Do y'all want to know who it is, or should I just keep talking about other things?
Tell us, Brittany.
Nigel says keep talking, which means he really wants to know. So once again, all of you did a fantastic job. I can't wait to see all of you in France. But our 2021 Portland Cocktail Week My Way USA, sponsored by Hennessy, champion is Michael Holiday. Yes, you. I know you look surprised, but you did it.
I wasn't expecting that. This is amazing. I've actually never won a competition before. So I just want to thank my friends and family. I want to thank all the judges. I want to thank Chocolate City's Best. Most importantly, I want to thank Mayo, with Mayo to Media, who shot the video and edited. It didn't charge me a dime. It's just based off of just love and community and curating things together. I really, really appreciate that. And I want to thank my team at 600T Cocktail Bar in DC. If you guys are ever in DC, please come by. We are really passionate about what we're doing, and we're on a journey that's bigger than us, building community through our cocktails at 600T Cocktails. Follow us on Instagram. And I'm Holiday thankful on Instagram, and I am so thankful. I love you all. It's been a hectic the last couple of days are really crazy. And I really needed this. So I really thank you guys. I love you guys. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you for presenting such a beautiful cocktail. And that goes for all of you. Your drinks, your videos, your stories were wonderful. And the scoring was very close. But congratulations again to you, Holiday. We're so excited for you. I cannot wait for us to all go into our days and have a Hennessy and apple juice in celebration, not only of My Way USA, but of Mr. Michael Holiday himself. And it's time for us to sign off so we can let Holiday and our other friends who will be joining us in France go celebrate. So have a great day. If you like this, follow Portland Cocktail Week. Like, love, get in the comments, say stuff. You can follow us on Instagram. We have one of those. Hennessy also has one of those at Hennessy US. It's very simple. You can follow that guy. That way you know what's going on with Hennessy. Hashtag Hennessy My Way. When you're out there doing Hennessy your way, let us know. We want to see it. You can start using that to get your inspo, start getting your cocktail together for My Way USA 2022. So that way you can be right here on this stage like these beautiful humans. And other than that, before I leave you, I just want to remind you all to never stop, never settle. Have a wonderful afternoon. Go drink some Hennessy. I know I'm about